All right, good afternoon. I'm here joined by Nicholas again and newcomer Chad Pars. Welcome to the second episode of the Barbados Manchester United Hangouts on Air. How are you guys doing?
Cool today, cool today.
Yeah, I agree
Everything.
too. I agree
All
too,
right.
always.
Okay, that's good to hear. You guys are following the Euros just now?
My here watching Germany. Oh no.
Oh, okay.
I didn't get a chance to. I watched the highlights for the France game, but I didn't get a chance to follow up the US. Sadly.
Curious question though. Who you guys supporting during Euros?
I back in Germany. I tell the whole world 2 years ago they was going win the World Cup, so I backing them again for these Euros.
Logically, right? When you break it down, I think only a few teams could win. I think France likely could win it, and I think Germany as well. But I think France might come out victorious. But who I back in? As an England man, sad to see it.
Sad to say for real.
All right, no problem, man. Let me get down to business though. We just made our first signing under Jose Mourinho, won by Eric Bailey,
Mr. Bailey.
A guy from Ivory Coast.
Well, that's how it's pronounced. I wasn't sure that's how it's
I
pronounced.
wasn't sure either. Mourinho sure love the Africans. Trust me.
Yeah, it's true. Definitely.
Yeah, so we signed this guy from Villarreal. He's 22 years of age, and I saw a couple highlights of him, but not sure that this was a highlight. This was a signing that probably surprised me. What do you say, Chad?
I wasn't very surprised in terms of his nationality. It seems like the typical player that Jose Mourinho would sign. Watching a few highlights, he just seemed like he had a desire to win back the ball when he lost it. He had strength. He was good on the ball, had good control and passing, a decent tackle. He just seemed like an all-round good defender. The only bad thing I saw was when Fernando Torres gave a little trouble. But all in all, he looked good.
But I said the reason it surprised me because I've never heard of him. I've never watched him. But what do you think, Nick?
Well, I guess with most United fans wouldn't have heard of him or seen him play. I remember him though, because I remember seeing that last name and not being able to pronounce it at the African Cup of Nations, the last one when his team Ivory Coast won. I remember a lot was made of that tournament because Yaya Toure was also a star player for the Ivory Coast. So I guess a lot of people were looking at that tournament for that particular reason. I hearing a lot of noise. That's me.
Probably you, yeah. I don't know.
All right, but so yeah, a lot was made of that tournament. So I remember him, but from what I've seen, because all of us went and watched the little videos and all the little compilation videos of this same player. But what I've seen is that he's not the best ball player. I'll be the first body to vote for Daley Blind in that particular capacity. I like Blind's ball playing ability,
His delivery.
but
I say you like his delivery, but we got one up to the fact that Blin lacking defensively.
well, it depends on what you really want as a defender. But Daley Blind to me isn't. He's good as a centre back, but he isn't utilized best as a centre back. But this guy Eric Bailey, he reminds me a lot of Vidic. Vidic when he first came didn't have as much ball playing skills, didn't have as much technical ability, but he could read the game. He was fast. He was strong. And what advantage we have with Bailey as well is that he's a tall player.
Yes,
Daley Blind is under 6 feet and Smalling is I think Smalling is 6'2" or so. So it's good that we are trying to stock that department of centre backs with tall players. It's very rare to see a tall, strong, and fast player. I think that strength and pace is what Daley Blind lacked, and a lot of people were calling for a replacement for him because of these attributes. But overall, I think Eric Bailey could be a good addition. Is yet to see what he does. Is always a big fanfare when you sign a new player, but you gotta wait and see what he does. but I think his attributes, his strength, his pace, reading of the game, um, will suit himself well for the team in general, and suit him for the Premier League.
But Nick, you made a point where you said that the guy Eric Bailey, he reminds you of Vidic, and
Yeah.
I would say years ago that people said that Phil Jones also reminded them of Vidic, and look how that turned out. Does Eric walk straight?
If he walks straight in the first team,
Yeah, does he walk straight next to in the first team and partner Smalling in defense?
well, depends on the rest of the summer business. If obviously if Daley Blind leaves, as people suspect, then I guess he would be first choice to partner Chris Smalling.
I honestly believe so too.
Yeah, it depends on how Phil Jones looks in preseason as well. But I think Phil Jones could reprise a different role under Mourinho. I see him as being because he played at right back, he played in centre midfield in those last couple of seasons of Ferguson's reign. So maybe Ferguson had an idea there, and maybe his best position is not centre back. I don't think Phil Jones really possesses the footballing intelligence. If you understand what I mean by football intelligence,
But what we'll see about
to
Phil
play at
Jones,
centre back.
Nick, is that Phil Jones is kind of a gift and a curse, because when on Phil Jones on a good day is a decent defender, but when Phil Jones trying the odd bad tackle and get injured, that's usually be he for the whole season.
Yeah.
So I can really see Bailey walking into the first team and Phil Jones, and he probably exchanging every now and again, but I
Yeah.
can't count on Phil Jones, sadly. He's a wild card.
I like Phil Jones at full back too, and at right back. I think that could be a role for him in the future. If Mourinho could have the persistence to play Branislav Ivanovic at right back and win the Premier League, then I don't see any reason why he can't play Phil Jones at right back, who has
You see Phil Jones
experience
beating
playing
out
at right back
Darmian?
too.
So question,
If I
guys,
see-
question.
Mhm.
So you're saying that you would like to see Phil Jones at right back, but we already have the guys of Timothy Fosu-Mensah and Matteo Darmian at that position, and we also have Barella. I honestly think we have enough at right back. So why would you want to see? I think Phil Jones' natural position is center back, or if called on, he should be playing defensive mid. I remember his how he played against Real Madrid. Man, he shut down Benzema, he shut down Ronaldo, he shut down Di Maria. That was one of the best performances I've seen from Phil Jones. He also played well against Arsenal as well. So in my opinion, I mean, I think he could flourish at right back, but who knows? I just think his preferred position is the centre back, but he's always being injured. That's my opinion.
I think it's a little bit too much competition on right back for Phil Jones right now. I think it's a little bit too much. So I believe he can probably be interchanged between him and Bailey, but I don't expect very much from Phil Jones. We can see if he could keep fit, then sure. But as of now, wild card.
Yeah, because everybody was seeing that Phil Jones and Chris Smalling would be the new Rio Ferdinand and Vidic, but Phil Jones hasn't kept fit for the past 2 seasons, and I'm here wondering.
Right.
But you know what? Let's move on to something else. Let's move on to a guy we signed in 2006 by the name of Michael Carrick, who just renewed his contract. I have mixed emotions about that. Chad, tell me what you think about that.
All in all, I don't think it's a bad decision. Carrick might not got the legs, but he's still got the brain for football. He's still very technical, and he's still got a good pass. So I think depending on how you deploy Carrick, is a good decision. And Mourinho is a very good coach, very brilliant coach. He knows how to use his players and deploy them to their strengths. So I think you can see a lot from Carrick this season. We can see.
But Nick, giving Carrick a 1-year contract, which that probably means that would Carrick feature more in the first team, or would he just be used as a sub?
Well, you see, you really can't predict these things, because over the season has so many ups and downs that you can't really predict who's gonna really make a significant impact in the team. But in my opinion, technical players don't really age as fast as physical players do. Physical players being the players who rely mostly on their physical attributes, right? But Carrick, he relied mostly on his vision, speed of thought, passing. So for him to be in United's team as an Englishman, first of all, that may be what went for him to get this new contract, being English and English teams wanting to have an English presence. You can tell he's a leader in the dressing room. He's very influential in the dressing room, along with Wayne Rooney. So I think it's a good move to sign him to a 1 year contract. So Mourinho can have him in the team so that the transition for players between one manager to the next, between one era to the next, is made more smoothly. Whether he'll be a first team, a regular first teamer, I highly doubt it at 35 years old with United still. Remember, we're still competing on four fronts. We've just exchanged the Champions League for the Europa League. So still fighting on four fronts. So I think that he can have a part to play. When we go to the away games, like away to Watford, away to Stoke, when you need a calm head on the pitch, you need experience on the pitch, and you need superb technical ability. I think last season, Mr. Van Gaal failed generally when we went to away games, and we didn't really have that foothold in the game. So Carrick can work in our away games, he can work in cup competitions, but generally his presence in the dressing room is gonna add a lot of value to what we're trying to do at United. So I agree with the 1 year contract. Maybe after he could go back to West Ham after the 1 year, but he's really done everything he can do for United. So I think this 1 year is a bonus for us for him.
I think Michael Carrick signed a 1 year contract. I mean, like I wasn't for it because Michael Carrick this season has been pretty inconsistent. But then I thought of what Michael Carrick has done over the last decade for United. Michael Carrick has been very underrated, and
Yeah,
he has contributed so much to United. Like a lot of people over the years would compliment the likes of CR, the likes of Rooney, the likes of Berbatov, um, the likes of Martial. But over the last decade, I think Carrick has been a great servant to Manchester United. So I'm more leaning towards, you know what, giving him a 1 year extension is a very positive thing to do.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
But what I will add to that is that I wouldn't kill Carrick too much on being inconsistent last season because a lot of other players were inconsistent last season on the Van Gaal.
Which is true.
So I think a fresh start for Carrick on this 1 year contract on the new coach, who I hope will know what he's doing. We will see. We could possibly see a better Carrick.
Okay, so one topic I never thought to bring up that I was thinking about when I was at work was that should we put buyback clauses on players? Like I was thinking about the whole United being linked to Pogba. Even over the years, I was telling myself, you know what, we did a mistake and let go Gerard Piqué, and also in my opinion, I think we made a mistake letting go Wilfred Zaha as well too. But forget like those three players. Um, should we really put buyback clauses on players because it's something that teams in Spain have been doing? Chad, what do you think?
I agree we should, especially with the youths that I am seeing right now. Like, let me see a worst case scenario. Rashford decide in a year's time he want to leave Manchester United. Already we can see he developing to be a real top striker. So a player like that, when you can look and see his development, you might want to put buyback clauses on players like that. Like the youth. Thus far, I think I agree that buyback clauses is a plausible way to go. And because even to think about it, like Pogba was youth at the time, and we didn't put a buyback clause on him, right? But when you saw Pogba play for a couple minutes, I think I watched the game he come on for a couple minutes. You can see the direction he was heading. He looked really good. So to see the type of play he developed into, I'm sure people know
It
will
hurts my
say,
heart.
exactly, boy, I wish I had a buyback clause on that youngster. See what I mean? So
Yeah.
So Nick, what do you think? Because over the last like 2 to 3 seasons, Manchester United supporters have been posting videos of Pogba scoring brilliant goals, his technical ability.
Yeah.
You think that we should put buyback clauses on, like Chad said, the youth?
Well, all right. The reason for buyback clauses in the beginning is usually for the selling club to maximize on, but basically just getting a fee for a player who doesn't really feature regularly. Now, remember, football is a business, right? And when you sign a contract, is a service agreement between yourself and the club that wants to sign you. So in cases with buyback clauses, is usually a club selling a player who doesn't really feature that often to another club, and you can't buy back the person for another 2 seasons. You have to spend 2 years at the club when you insert a buyback clause. But it's usually for a club to just sell a player that wouldn't really be getting much minutes, and then but you know that the player has potential. So you sell the player to the club professionally for 2 seasons, and after the 2 seasons, you can either reenact the buyback clause, or you can pay the club that you sold to remove the buyback clause. So in the instance of Pogba, with that there, I don't think United were really keen on holding on to him that much. There's different interests. Like, okay, if you see Morata from Real Madrid knew that Morata was a player with massive potential. So selling him to Juve with the provision that they can buy him back is smart business for them, and also smart business for Juve, because the fee that Juve would initially pay Madrid is far less than the fee that Madrid will have to pay them in the buyback clause. So that's the business of the whole thing. You have to consider the importance of that particular player to the club. English teams, when you loan out a player, that player is yet unproven. He hasn't really done much on the club level or the international scene. So English clubs usually loan players so that they can get experience at a lesser club. Um, but the buyback clause is really, you can sell the player anywhere. But I say that to say buyback clauses are just part of the business of football. Is more common to the culture of football in Western Europe, in Spain and France and Italy, and less so in England. But I would hope that that culture comes over to England, because a lot of um, youth in the English teams, a lot of the especially the foreign youth that the English teams bring in, such as Pogba,
Hmm.
uh, a lot of the Italian youth that come into the Premier League are just loaned out to smaller clubs in the Championship, where they're exposed to a whole different culture of football, a whole different style of football, and they never really adapt, so their careers never really go anywhere.
But
Now,
if you look at the likes of Chelsea, Chelsea would probably have like 30 or 40 buyback
yeah,
clauses because they bring in
yeah,
at least, I want to say, 20 youth, and they
yeah,
just are loaned to the likes of um, in Holland and all these other places.
yeah,
But you know what? I think the buyback clause would be a good deal. But in terms of that being different from a loan, depending on the club that wants the player that's being loaned out, a club could say, well, my midfield is stout. Why would I need this player from Manchester United in my midfield? Why would I
uh-huh,
need this player from Manchester United in my defense if my defense is
yeah,
stout? And
mm,
even if like they're on the same level as the players that are currently at that club, like why would I need him? So like basically moving on, you know what? We have signed Eric Bailey, and it looks like we'll have to delay this Zlatan move. Um, can you guys give me three transfers of your choice, being realistic, that you would like to
yeah.
see at Manchester United? I'll start with Nick.
Well, I think the main area that we need to improve on is the striker department, the goals department more specifically, but strikers score goals. So we have Rashford coming through. Still some other youngsters. Wayne Rooney playing midfield for club and country. No, he's no longer to be considered a striker. So we need at least one other guy who can challenge for a place. It seems that depends on the system though. It depends on the system that we play, whether or not we be using two strikers, one striker. But with Martial and with Rashford, I think one other quality centre forward would be an asset. Ibrahimovic obviously would not deter the progress of Martial or Rashford, so he's seen as a good choice. But we need a centre forward. That's definite.
So who are the three transfers you would like to see?
Yeah,
I mean,
right. So I would like Zlatan to come over. I just admire Zlatan every since. So and he never won the Champions League, and we are not playing Champions League this season, so he doesn't have anything to worry about or missing glory in the Champions League this season because we're not playing in it. Zlatan will be a good buy for us. Bailey as well. I'm very satisfied that we bought a centre back. Um, Also, probably a real center defensive midfielder, a destroyer, if you will, because is every season we say we never replace Roy Keane and this and that. We need a midfield destroyer. We have too many midfielders at United who love the ball to feet, who have to work with the ball. We need some guys who can work off the ball, who can break up play and distribute the ball well.
so who
Uh,
who do you have in
that
mind? Who do you
that
have in mind?
that particular player is N'Golo Kante from Leicester.
Okay.
So Kante, Bailey, and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. If we have a summer, we sign all three of those, I will be quite satisfied for you next season.
Okay, Chad. So tell me, you know what? We brought in Zlatan. Well, not yet, of course, hopefully. But we brought in Eric Bailey, and you know what? I heard you telling me, a couple weeks back that you'd like Griezmann from Atletico Madrid. Is he still a possibility? And do you still want him?
I would really love to see Griezmann at Manchester United, but is a hope thing because he just went in Champions League with Atletico Madrid. And he was just in the top four with his club and even met Champions League again with them. So that seemed like a quite difficult play. That's as difficult as trying to get Koke. But I think we were in links with one of their players. I think his name was Saul.
So
Right?
Nunez from Atletico Madrid, yeah.
Right. I seen him play, and I think he would be a very good buy. Of course, I would love to see Zlatan, but of all the striker, that I would love to see if Zlatan doesn't come, but is a very wishful thing, is Thomas Muller
Yeah,
Thomas
yeah.
Muller from Bayern Munich.
from Bayern Munich.
Apparently last year Bayern Munich rejected a record fee and they would not reveal what the record fee was. But Thomas Muller wouldn't be a bad buy. And in terms of my opinion, I'm probably going to stick to the same guys from last week. Last week I said John Stones,
Mhm.
and I said Isco or Ross Barkley, and Nick made a good point, as in, Rooney is now in midfield, and we can't solely rely on
No,
Martial and Rashford to carry United forward. And Zlatan hasn't signed us yet. So in the case of what Chad said, just in case Zlatan doesn't come, um, another good striking option. And you know what? People may criticize me for this, but he hasn't been playing in his rightful position. He was playing his rightful position at Napoli, but he wasn't doing it at PSG, and I'm gonna have to go with Edison Cavani. That is just my striking option.
not
And
really.
Yeah.
Not
you
really.
know, PSG they were centered solely on Zlatan, and Cavani was pushed out left, and he was always either pushed out left or on the bench. And I think, you know what, if Cavani comes in and he's played the central role, how he was playing at Napoli, I think he would flourish at United. That's just my opinion.
Like
Maybe.
with the lack of real world class forwards available, I don't think PSG will want to sell two or lose two in one summer. So to get Cavani from PSG now is going to take an almighty amount of money. But I think he's a great player as well. I love my South American forwards. Very physical, very aggressive, very 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 vicious forwards. And the last one we had, Carlos Tevez, he was loved by the fans, and he really epitomized United spirit as it pertained to energy and physicality. So I would love another South American forward that you like.
But sadly, we gotta come to the fact that Cavani is not clinical.
Well,
I have seen Cavani miss point blank shots.
everybody's missed point blank.
But I mean,
everybody misses point blank shots.
But I mean,
Even Robert
more
Lewandowski misses
often
point
than
blank
not.
shots.
Yeah.
I mean him very often, even for his country and for his club. Is a trend with Cavani. So I think my problem with him is that he's not clinical, but in terms of physicality and skill and whatnot, he'd be very good. But I just worried when he get in the box, he's gonna miss.
I know his confidence has been down at PSG as of recently. But you know what, guys, thank you for coming through for the second episode of the Barbados Manchester United footballers supporters on air, and I'm looking forward to doing this again. You know what, Nick, thanks for coming through. Chad, thanks for coming through.
Yeah, no problem, man.
And hopefully we can continue this in the future. All right, guys. Chad, any final thoughts?
What I will say is that
keep it brief too.
What Nick was saying about a true defensive midfielder. I was saying this when you look at teams like Bayern Munich or Barcelona or even Real Madrid, those teams don't necessarily have true defensive midfielders. So I think that is a fallacy now, because teams playing players like Kroos and Modric together, and those are really not heavy duty defensive midfielders, but still those teams are winning, if you understand.
That's true.
So, in terms of signing a true defensive midfielder, too sure. In terms of signing a really good quality defensive midfielder that could dribble, pass, and what's not, I would really love that. I have no names in mind, but that's just something I wanted to see on the whole defensive midfielder issue, because a lot of people get caught up in this idea of true defensive midfielder, but I realize a lot of teams winning without it, if you understand me. So I would just like to see Manchester United sign a midfielder.
That is another topic we will be discussing hopefully in the next discussion. So you know what? Thanks again, guys.
Everybody.
This has been Barbados MUFC supporters on air.